over 100 people are dead and hundreds more are feared missing after a Tanzanian freighter sinks on Lake Victoria. Refugees get their turn on the big screen at a Kenyan film festival. And the first African freestyle football contest is held in Nigeria. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. We begin this evening in Tanzania with a massive loss of life in Thursday's ferry boat disaster. Dozens more bodies were recovered on Friday, the morning after a ferry overturned in Tanzania's part of Lake Victoria. Anna Bevan reports.
The wreckage of an overturned ferry that sank in Tanzania's part of Lake Victoria Thursday, killing dozens of people. But government officials fear the final death toll could reach as high as 200. Initial estimates show there were more than 300 people on board. The local district commissioner took part in the immediate rescue effort.
We are here to do a rescue so that if there are any alive, with God's help, we rescue them. As for those who have died, we'll get them out too. For now, we are concentrating on the rescue operation, though. As you can see, specialists have arrived.
The ferry sank just meters from the dock on Lake Victoria's biggest island.
Reuters' Anna Bevan filed that report. Now, the Roman Catholic Church in the Democratic Republic of Congo has been on the forefront of the pro-democracy movement for decades. Responding to pressure from the church, President Joseph Kabila announced last month that he will not be seeking a third term. The church is now urging the government to ensure that December's elections are free and fair. But some church members face grave risks for their activism, and they talked to VOA about what they are demanding from the government and how far they are willing to go in the face of those threats. Chika Odua reports from Kinshasa.
A special service to commemorate pro-democracy activists who have been killed and those who are still detained. The Catholic Church is a powerful force in the DRC. Nearly half of the country's population are members. They say they're inspired by the Church's steady demands for good governance. But government security forces are targeting some churchgoers ever since the anti-government protest began early last year.
On n'est plus rentré dans nos familles. Donc on vit en clandestinité depuis janvier jusqu'aujourd'hui.
We did not go back home to our families. We have been living in hiding since January. For our security, we informed the UN mission MONUSCO about our movements, and some of their agents go with us whenever we go out. They are even here with us now.
President Joseph Kabila announced last month that he would not run for an unconstitutional third term and appointed former Interior Minister Emmanuel Shadari to run in December. It was part of an agreement brokered by the church in December 2016, but it took a series of demonstrations for Kabila to finally step down.
In February, police officers and military police entered this Catholic church compound to stop people from participating in a street march to demand President Joseph Kabila to step down. But the protest continued anyway. People walked down this very street. And at the end of it all, at least 2 people were killed when police fired into the crowd.
The crackdown continues, with the number of people killed by government forces in church-organized rallies now up to at least 45, according to Human Rights Watch. Rossi Mukendi, an assistant professor, is among the dead.
He was killed like a dog in the middle of a crowd. Even when he was very young, Rossi was interested in politics. As his relatives, we didn't agree with his militancy. We always found it dangerous because we're in Africa and we deal more with autocrats than Democrats.
The government says it is still investigating Rossi's death. It also says the Catholic Church leadership is overstepping its boundaries.
So let them remove their status of bishops and become politicians. And we run together and we shall see who will win elections. We are talking of, leading a country. It is not the bishops to lead a country.
The bishops support the lay committee, known as the CLC, to coordinate the church's activism.
The CLC is fighting to safeguard freedom of expression, especially in this pre-electoral context. Our members can't move freely. At any time they can be arrested. This is a sacrifice for the sake of public interest.
Parishioners like Gertrude say as long as the church leadership continues to back them, they'll continue non-violently demanding for democratic change in the DRC. Chika Odua in Kinshasa for VOA News.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump will join other world leaders Monday at the United Nations for their annual meetings. From wars to climate change to hunger and disease, there is no shortage of issues on their agenda. But President Trump is likely to steal much of the spotlight as many wait to hear what he has to say about progress on North Korea's denuclearization and other pressing issues. VOA UN correspondent Margaret Bashir has this UNGA preview.
President Trump made quite a debut at last year's General Assembly.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
He stunned leaders used to nuanced diplomacy, and many are wondering what he will do for an encore.
That was great television. It played incredibly well on US networks. Trump is not really here to charm other leaders. He is here to make some headlines with some powerful statements just before the US midterm elections. So there will be fire and there will be fury.
While his approach was unconventional and not without risk, it did lead to dialogue. Many will be watching to gauge Trump's tone on North Korea during his Tuesday morning address to the Assembly. Leader Kim Jong-un will not be in the audience, but will likely be watching closely from Pyongyang. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has also invited his North Korean counterpart to meet with him in New York. On Thursday, Pompeo will chair a meeting of the UN Security Council. He will brief on how discussions with North Korea are going and urge countries to keep up the sanctions pressure until Pyongyang takes concrete steps to denuclearize. The U.S. holds the rotating presidency of the Security Council, and President Trump will chair a meeting Wednesday to focus on non-proliferation. Expect him to talk a lot about Iran.
Iran continues to be a problem. Every dangerous spot in the world, Iran seems to have its fingerprints in it.
Iran's president will address the General Assembly on Tuesday and hold a news conference just hours after Trump's Security Council session on Wednesday. Hassan Rouhani is likely to criticize the U.S. for withdrawing from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal and its decision to reimpose unilateral sanctions on Tehran. While many leaders will be present in New York, there will be some notable exceptions. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are skipping the gathering. German Chancellor Angela Merkel will also be a no-show. And while North Korea and Iran may dominate the headlines, there will be work on many pressing global issues, including conflicts in the Middle East and Africa, global warming and development. Margaret Bashir, VOA News, the United Nations.
European Union leaders gathered in Salzburg, Austria, for an informal discussion of key issues, including the terms of Britain's withdrawal from the bloc. Britain's Conservative government has lost a majority, and with it, the mandate for a so-called hard Brexit, in which Britain would leave the EU single market and customs union. It now seeks a compromise. Another unresolved issue is the future of the border between EU member Ireland and Britain's Northern Ireland. Here's VOA's Zlatitsa Sahok.
Northern Portugal is known for its black grapes used in the production of world-renowned sweet port wine. Dry soil and high altitude mean fewer grapes, but also a high concentration of sugar in the grapes exposed to the sun on steep slopes.
Port wine is good because it's from here, from this region. We are in the mountains, so what we do is always in small scale, but with extraordinary quality.
Britain is the second largest export market for Portugal's port, and its impending exit from the European Union could affect port's $58 million annual business. EU laws protect geographical names of products such as port, champagne, parmesan, and feta cheeses, and their prices are higher outside the common market. It is one of the issues holding up a Brexit deal.
I don't think the Europeans will accept, the EU will accept a Brexit deal which does not protect feta cheese, parmesan cheese, or champagne wine. Also because the entire final Brexit deal will need to be ratified by national parliaments, 27 national parliaments. Can we imagine the Greek parliament or the Italian parliament or the French parliament having to ratify a final Brexit deal that does not strongly protect feta, parmesan or champagne? It will be difficult. That's why a deadlock on this issue may jeopardize the entire Brexit deal.
Britain could switch to importing cheaper sweet wine from Australia and South Africa as it looks around for post-Brexit trade deals. Both sides will have to make adjustments after Brexit. Britain's supermarket giant Tesco is opening discount food stores to compete with German-owned Aldi and Lidl. The chain puts an emphasis on local foods, and the name Jack's is linked to the name of the British national flag, the Union Jack. British Prime Minister Theresa May is promoting her latest proposal for a deal with the EU, which envisions Britain remaining in the European single market for goods only.
It's the only credible and negotiable plan on the table that delivers no hard border in Northern Ireland and also delivers on the vote of the British people.
But May's plan is criticised by both sides of the Brexit debate for either cutting off too many ties with the EU or not offering a clean break from the bloc. Europeans criticise it for wanting to keep the benefits of EU membership without taking on its responsibilities. Zlarica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our show live on Facebook, so check us out and share our show with your friends. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince McCory. Still ahead on Africa 54, refugee stories make it to the big screen in Kenya. But first, a look at Friday's headlines. A film festival in Kenya this month highlighted a group not often seen on the big screen, refugees. The event, organized by the non-profit group Film Aid in collaboration with Amnesty International, screened a selection of short films about exile and identity, some produced by refugees themselves. Rylan Boer has more.
One of the films showcased at this festival is The Other Dadaab, a 5-minute documentary by Abdirazak Jamal Shaya on realities of the Dadaab refugee camp located in northwestern Kenya.
But that is only one side of the story.
The camp near Somalia border is the world's largest refugee settlement with a population of close to 500,000 refugees. The documentary showcases Dadaab as a virtual city with its own socio-economic dynamics as opposed to a transient settlement. Mark Maine is the creator of another film shown at the festival, Neophobia, which tells the story of a woman obsessed with old routines.
Provide new content for television networks that lacked it.
He was present for the screening of The Other Dadaab.
I'm really glad for Film Aid that they've closely given us how it is for those in the camps, the kind of lives they live, the kind of suffering that they go through.
Film Aid International is a non-profit humanitarian group that uses movies and media to raise awareness of social issues. It holds annual film festivals in Kenya to empower, inform and inspire refugees and other marginalized populations. This year's screenings took place in Dadaab and Kakuma refugee camps, in addition to Nairobi. Stella Suje is Film Aid's country director.
There are various things that we hope to achieve. One is that people can actually see the faces of refugees, which is largely presented as a statistic. So to encounter those faces and to get a sense of who they are, their humanity, and to share that. And then secondly, we want to actually start to be in dialogue with Kenyan nationals who have actually been hosting refugees for a long time without a clear understanding of what it means.
Wamboi Mombi attended the screening held at IMAX Cinema in Nairobi.
The main lesson, or the main thing I've picked, is that we shouldn't segregate refugees. We shouldn't treat them like they are a different species. Because at the end of the day, we are all people, we're all human. The struggles they go through, they're the same things. Kenyans, like if you're born in Kenya, you live in Kenya, it's the same struggle you will go through.
The film screenings in the camps and in Nairobi were complemented by panel discussions with topics focusing on refugee stories and perceptions.
Be proud of your track record. You have hosted.
More films like the other Dadaab may be on the way as Film Aid programs train more than 50 refugees annually on filmmaking. Rael Ombor for VOA News, Nairobi.
Welcome back to Africa 54, and here's what's trending. Looking back on New York Fashion Week, you might have noticed models of different shapes and sizes flaunting the latest designs. At Rihanna's presentation of our latest lingerie line, the pop star wanted to include all the different body types and all the different women in different stages of their womanhood. Models traditionally seen at Fashion Week alongside plus-sized and even pregnant models, and the clothes were different too, including features designed to aid individuals with disabilities, such as magnetic buttons on shirts, jackets and pants, created to make getting dressed easier. Well, and finally, Japan may be home to video game giants like Nintendo, Sony and Bandai Namco, but it has traditionally lagged behind in esports. But that could be about to change as esports are proving to be a crowd pleaser at the Tokyo Game Show. Gamers are able to participate with several booths dedicated to esports games ahead of esports tournaments this weekend. But with talk that elite computer gaming may become an official Olympic sport, Japan is determined to catch up. Esports will become a medal event at the 2022 Asian Games. Global esports fans are estimated to number 500 million by 2020, and that's what's trending today. Now, they say sometimes you have to see it to believe it. Well, men and women from different parts of the world met in Nigeria recently to showcase their freestyle football skills. Here's Africa 54's Esther Githo-Yuwant.
The three-day event attracted freestylers from over 20 African countries and beyond the continent, all showing off their skills for the title of African Football Freestyle Champion in Lagos, Nigeria. Raquel Benetti traveled all the way from Brazil to show off her freestyle ball skills as the crowd cheered her on. Freestyle soccer is a sport of skill and expression where the player performs various stunts and tricks with a football to outperform the competition. Take a look at this Guinean footballer's spectacular move. Iya Traore hangs from a scaffolding as he shows off his skills. The organizers, Feet and Tricks International Limited, say they organized the event to help the large number of ball juggling youths in Africa get noticed and create a livelihood out of their skills. The event did not disappoint. Egyptian contestant Yosef Ayman Rieskel danced with the ball, thrilling spectators. Fit and Tricks International Limited CEO Odike Nzewi says the competition aims to nurture the youth to become superstars and earn a living.
It's to create an enabling environment for those talented youth, to have a sustainable living. So basically what we want is to develop them to a point where they become like superstars and companies can employ them for whatever activations they want to do.
But it was the young Ivorian contestant Abdul Kader Kone who stole the show, and the fired-up crowds couldn't get enough of him. A video of Kader Kone shows off his skills. 3, 2, 1, and the young man was crowned as the first African freestyle football champion. Kone was awarded an SUV, a supersized check of $3,000 and an all-expenses paid trip to the United Kingdom to perform during halftime at a Premier League match. Esther Githu-Ewart, VOA News, Washington.
Well, it's time now for Friday Music Makers segment, and today we bring you Aerobics Workshop as an international dance and fitness program that is a fusion of dances from different parts of Africa blended with aerobics. Marjo Lagabona is the founder and CEO of Aerobics Workshop. She's joined by two dancers. Welcome to Africa 54.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, and we're happy to have you with us. First, tell me, what really inspired you to come up with this?
What inspired me to come up with Aerobics is the passion that I have for dancing and the joy I see that it brings to others around me. So a lot of people who have taken my workshops or my classes, they'll always come up to me and say, oh, like, this class has changed my life in a way. It makes me feel like I can do whatever I want to do. I'm motivated, I'm not discriminated against, because I encourage everyone, it doesn't matter what size you are, what country you're from, whatever even if you don't have a background in dancing, I encourage you to stay fit through dancing. And it's like a mental therapy. And, it just makes people happy.
So are you telling me that if I just keep with this dancing, that on its own can be enough for me? Can make me fit and look as fit as you?
Yes. As long as you put your mind to it, you can do it.
So it must be vigorous. What is the coco in this dance?
Well, Coco is a nickname that was given to me by my fans. So I just mixed Coco and aerobics, and then made it into a word. I just wanted to personalize, the name and add some flavor into it, because it's the way that I dance combined with aerobics.
So you've said, first, you're kind of taking dances from different places, different African dancing styles, and then you kind of make it into a routine that now has become yours.
Yes. Actually, not only African styles,
but
I involve different type of movements from different parts of the world. So it's an international dance fitness program.
Very good. So we want to see this, but perhaps you just want to introduce your other dancers by name so that we know who they are.
Yes.
So we have the lady here.
This is Ella.
Ella. Okay.
And this is Raul. Raul is from India, and Ella is from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
So they are part of my dance collective, Aerobics Entertainment. So I have Aerobics Workshop and Aerobics Entertainment, and they assist me in teaching and doing other things like assisting people in classes with movement steps that they won't be able to do on their own, and do dance videos, promote culture and different types of music.
Okay, thank you. I think we want to see what you do, and so I'm gonna slide away and give you this floor so that you can show us Aerobics.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
no ye obomi. Onduwe da no ba obomi. Kela takona obomi. Kesasaji obomi. Tonto mole obomi. Bele obomi. Achome paino. Be okwe chofi. Agbene be okwe chofi. Okwe chofi. Agbene be okwe chofi. Okwe crack and chofi. Okwe crack and chofi. Ajojo fejo, ojojo ne ho, kote wo shoko, ajoge wo yo, oya wo shashi yo. If you really want to dance, I'm in a
So vigorous, you know. I really want to thank you guys. That's Coco Aerobics Workshop, an international dance and fitness program that is a fusion of dances from different parts of Africa blended with aerobics. Thank you, Marjo, and thanks to your dynamic dancers too. And I want to end the show.
Welcome to English in a Minute. So, you know what happy is, and medium comes between small and large.
To find a happy medium.
So, is this idiom about feeling kind of happy?
How is it going with your neighbor? Is he still complaining about your playing the trombone at night?
He was, but it's fine now.
How did you guys work it out?